I got sinuses for today, but I did change the filter in my furnace today. And I'll tell you what, uh, it was, I gotta send some invites here. Let's just say I could grow a garden with the dirt that's inside the filter I took out of there. Okay. All right. There's that. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the main chat anyway, just because I can. Okay. And if anyone comes in and wants to be in the show, open roundtable tonight. Holiday season coming up. Got Christmas coming up real soon. I hope you guys can hear me good on this microphone on the headset. I think it's the right one that I'm using. Anyway, let me see if Maria is around. All right. All right, I am live, Bobby. I am live. Come on in. All right, we got two people watching. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. All right, everybody. So, hey, today's Friday, December the 9th. A lot of things happened in the last recent week or so. Not so good things, and then things that are everyday normal. Kind of, hate to say it, but hey, Bobby, how you doing? Bobby's here in chat. What's going on, Bobby? All right, we got someone here in chat. Good, I'm not by myself. So Kirstie Alley of Cheers, I know her from Cheers. She's done a lot of other things that maybe a lot of people didn't know about. But I remembered her character on Cheers, and it was interesting. She was interesting, anyway. I don't care about all her religious belief or anything like that. I'm not talking about that at all. Oh, I don't know. She might be on tonight. That's our plan. She'll be here with us tonight as a guest, as a host, as a guest hostess. She's doing her own show, but I'm not sure when she's doing that I don't know if she has a regular schedule. But she'll be back with us here tonight, hopefully. That's the plan. If lightning doesn't strike or something, whatever. But yeah, so I looked at the ability of the character she played on Cheers, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. And so then in local news here, there was now some of you might hate me for this, and some of you local here might hate me for this, and that's okay. You can if you want. We can all have our own opinions. And I'm not the one who lost anyone. I didn't lose a child or anything like that in a shootout with the police. But we had in St. Paul, which is a 6-hour drive from here, so well out of my reach to go anywhere. And again, this is my opinion, folks. Don't get mad at my channel. Don't get mad at me. Don't well, if you want to get mad at me or get mad at my opinion, you don't have to get mad at me necessarily. But if you don't agree with it, then share your piece. Share what you think is right. I'm sharing what I think is right. 17-year-old young man, still a boy or minor, under 18, um, had, I don't know if he had one or two guns with him, but he had at least one that he was using for carjacking. And they were actually called to the situation in St. Paul. The police were called for a domestic dispute. Didn't think about any guns or anything like that. And anyway, when you have a domestic dispute, when you're in law enforcement, you never know, what you're going to walk into or roll up on or whatever. And you have certainly a different take every time. And this particular one, the guy was in the middle of carjacking. In the middle of carjacking a woman. I don't know if he did anything. Yeah. 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 One of the. I'll add you to the stream to notice that. Hey, Julie, how you doing? So I was just talking about the little bit of news about the police shooting that happened in St. Paul. And the family was all upset. Oh, they wanted the body cams right away. They wanted all the evidence right away so they can look. Then when they get it, say, oh, we don't want the real body cams. Okay, what do you think they did in 2 days? Do you really think that they manufactured a fake body cam so you can look at it differently? I don't think so. They don't have that kind of time or the money to go into that kind of manipulation of editing in order to make it look whatever way you think it should look. Um, in the case of what they showed on the news, though, the police rolled up. The guy had a gun, and he started firing, or he's already shooting somebody, and somebody was shooting at him or whatever. I don't know what. But from what I saw on the news, if that's a real video, I saw him shooting himself. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. But now the family is demanding transparency from the police and some kind of wrongful death, payment or some kind of thing like that, obviously. And, well, heck, why not? Minnesota has $17.6 billion surplus. Why not give it to somebody else? You know what I mean? So, uh, although that's, that's part of my $17.6 billion that they got, and I don't think it should go to anyone but me, give it back to me. You know what I mean? I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. And that was probably the greatest rant I was gonna have tonight, was just on these unnecessary uh, uprisings of police, so-called police brutality, which is not. I mean, if you remember a while back, where was that at? Where was that one where the guy was? The whole thing was messed up. The black guy got shot and said that he was shot by the police for no reason, and apparently it was something that he robbed a store or something like that. And he was actually a really bad guy, and nobody's talking about that part. I can't remember where that was at though. What city? But it was somewhere in the south, I think. And it was national news and everything, and the whole country went crazy, about it, and it's like that had nothing to do with us. Why are we going crazy about it? You know what I mean? Um, the the thing with the George Floyd thing a few years ago, a couple of years ago here in Minneapolis, that had to do with us, and yet the whole world got into that one. I mean, everybody got in that one, and it wasn't even what they said. If you looked at the case, it was nothing like what they're talking about. Nothing. And they made up a whole bunch of stuff, and officers lost their lives that they did their job. You know what I mean? They lost everything they had over this whole thing. And they were just trying to do their job. And everything that the news came out with of what happened ain't the way that it really went. Okay? And he was not the prince or the royalty type of person that you would expect him to be in that situation. The guy that died. Now, sad. I agree. It's sad that anyone dies in any kind of a police situation. I don't want to see anyone die. Okay. And if there's a way to get around it, let's get around it. If you have a warrant out for your arrest, go turn yourself in. Then you're not going to get shot. Okay. If you have, don't go on a police chase. You know what I mean? Don't go on a police chase and make them come after you, and don't have a standoff in your house or anything like that. Do the right thing. If you have some kind of complaint against you, go and take care of it and deal with it. That's the adult thing and common sense thing to do. This kid in St. Paul that got shot, though, I say kid, he was only 17 years old. What is a 17-year-old doing with a handgun in the first place when you're supposed to be 21 to even own a gun? Okay, I think that's all states now. 50 states, you have to be 21 years old to own a handgun in this country. Okay? Now, how did he have the gun that he was using to do a carjacking? And then his mom has the nerve to come on the camera on the news crying about the brutality of the police. And then the first thing I say about this whole story, and the reason why this burns me up is it's in my state. So that's why it kind of burns me up just a little bit. Because it's, money that's going to be taken away from my needs and, medical or whatever. And it's going to go into that support of that case. When if you would have raised your kid right in the first place, period, this wouldn't have happened. Okay? Just my personal opinion. Don't hate me for it. Please don't hate me for it. That's my personal opinion. Everyone has their own personal opinion. I always like to say, everyone has one. What does everyone have? Everyone has one of what? Every single human being, maybe every creature ever created, has one of what? Think about that one. Every single living creature has one of what? And when you think about it, you got it. And then when you compare that to the opinion, every single human being has their own opinion. So nobody's right, nobody's wrong, and you don't have to like what I say or agree with it, but maybe some people will. I don't know. Julie, I watched the guest that was with Maureen on yesterday, and then I got to hear her again on Lee Spiegel's show on the NX audio portion of it on TuneIn Radio, and she was a guest with Lee Spiegel, and she went into some other details. I maybe when they do a show, they don't necessarily talk about the same things all the time, and so or they might be able to cover things they weren't able to cover, before in another show. You know what I mean? So, I heard her talk about a website talking about dream something. It's about understanding dreams and for dream research. So I think in 2023, I'm going to start a new process for myself, for my own learning. I'm going to start researching dreams. Okay, are you ready for that? And so if you have a dream and you have something you want to ask about, don't be shy. Ask me about the dream, and I'll try to find an answer for you. And I'm not talking any crazy talk here. We remember, who was it? Um, was it David that read the dream, and then of course he became king like shortly after that? King David, right? Wasn't he the one of the ones that read the dream, and he showed his power about being able to dream or to understand dreams rather? And what is the one verse in the Bible that talks about
You're
old
asking a person.
young men will dream dreams and old men will see visions or something like that?
Hmm.
I don't know. Bobby might know that one a little bit better than I do. I kind of know it, but it talks about having dreams and seeing visions and things like that. Oh, there's a lot of things that are in the Bible that the church calls evil now. Now, I'm not trying to argue with the church either at this point, okay? So don't get upset, church, or anyone else watching that's religious or whatever. But when when the church says, "Oh, the spirits that we are witnessing, the ghosts, you've remote viewed my house, you've seen some energy that we can't explain." I don't think they're demons, okay? If they were demons, I'd be getting them out of the house pretty quick, or I would be getting out of the house, one or the other. But in this case here, they're not demons, and I think you know that as well when what you saw, okay? And so, and everyone that I've talked to, they all said, well, there's a small amount of negativity, but not anything to be worried about, like in the
They're
in the
just
attic.
they're just doing arts and crafts.
Right, yeah, the one that we're talking about, the old man in the basement, he's just building his little toys, Christmas toys or whatever. Maybe he's one of the elves that are working. I don't know. But what I wanted to do with the dream research though is I'm going to start really getting into it and really understanding what the dream symbols are. There are dream symbols, and on this website that I went to last night, which I'll find it for you and give you a link, and you can do some research with me and on your own time. And then, as we're talking about, we can both sound like we know what the heck we're talking about. All right.
Well, I used to interpret dreams for myself. I
Yeah.
also had actually a friend I'm staying with is very intertwined with dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so they're a dream interpreter. And I did have someone on my podcast that was a dream interpreter as well. I'm sure there was multiple, but this was a specific one.
Yeah.
Um, and when she had said when she was teaching dream interpretation is it's not always that dictionary of some symbols
Right.
that um they're more specific to a person or to the interpreter.
Right.
So yeah.
And so I think that's, I'm going to start working with just my dreams, like what you were talking about right there. Just working on that. And then I can, when I get that down to the best science I know, the best interpretations, and I know it's going to be variable depending on what I'm feeling at the time of the dream. For instance, I've had moments where I've had my cell phone in my hand, and I knew I was holding on to my cell phone in my hand in the dream, and I don't know if I was using it or whatever. The point of the matter is, I had it in my hand. Okay. I've been in a situation where I was holding a glass that had a cold, I don't know if it was a beer or iced tea or whatever. It was something cold that was liquid, that I was drinking. And it was in my hand. It was cold. I could feel the cold of the drink, the ice and all that. So, what I learned about that so far is that when you have those visions and those sensations in dreams, that means you're really in that place at that moment. Okay, because
Um,
a lot of psychiatrists say, "Oh no, you don't dream in color," and that's a bunch of lies. There, I see color all the time in
well,
my dreams.
it's not necessarily true because I've um in my work with the Akashic records and psychic work, I somebody will astral travel
Right.
and they'll have experiences astral traveling.
Yep.
Um, there was a gal, Joanne, that she had a question about what she was experiencing while she was asleep. She wasn't astral traveling, she was actually in her body, but she was dreaming of another, she was in another realm or another dimension.
Mm.
And she was actually there,
Wow.
but it was it wasn't astral traveling though.
Well, that's interesting. How is that even possible, though?
Well, it's just like me, like being able to remote view the past. I
Yeah.
wasn't there. It's another dimension.
All right. Now, look what I have here. I got my cards.
Yay.
Uh, I'll pull one for you right now. All right. If you're ready, is that okay?
Sure.
All right. I should have asked you before I pulled it, but anyway. Let me see here.
Yeah, I need some successful completion. All I get is delays and
Yeah.
distractions.
Now what I'll do is I'll take a picture of that. Would you like two cards or is one enough?
you know, Three's great.
Okay,
I
we'll
was
do
told
three.
3 cards,
We'll do three then.
unless I'm
All
drawn
right.
to fair what decisions?
Yeah,
Fair
fair.
decision
Yeah, fair decision. Yeah. I'll
is
take a
really
picture of all these
hard
and send it to you. Okay. So far you got two that are in the so-called major arcana in the angel deck. So that's pretty good. I think that's what the numbers mean at the top. Like on the major arcana of the tarot. Okay.
healer of abundance.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of hard. Oh, there we go. You seen it before. I was trying to
It,
zoom in on it. You already read it. All right, let me get that picture for you of the three of these, and then you can take a look at that and read exactly what it says. I'm not going to take the time to read all the readings. We'd be here all night, me trying to read it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
With my eyesight and this lighting, I'd be in trouble. All right, let me make sure that's lined up. Oh boy, okay. Lined up. Okay, I need to trim it up a little bit. Okay, there we go.
So you want me to pull a couple cards for you, Ron?
Yeah, and then we're gonna do the audience as well. Bobby's the only one here right now, so we'll do that one. We'll do Bobby's. You want me to do Bobby's first, and then you can do mine?
Yeah, just a second here.
Well, yeah, you can go ahead and get ready, and I'll go ahead and get Bobby's done. And Bobby, if you want a card, are you ready? All right, tell me if that picture was clear enough for you when you check your messenger. Uh, Amazing the technology we have today. Take a picture and be streaming. No, don't have to miss a beat. I was watching Bishop James Long tonight and watching him on YouTube, and then I got signed up on TikTok so I can help like the channel, and I even paid for a subscription. No big deal, only a little bit, only a couple of dollars to do that, so not too bad. And I don't mind helping somebody that's really needing, support. And as he always says, he doesn't charge for his services. He does things out of the love that he has for people. And so um, he does a lot of things for people that most of us don't even know what he does exactly. But I went ahead and supported this TikTok channel, and so that was pretty cool. But those guys are crazy on that TikTok, man. They're fast. The chat's moving by like a rolling, or the turning of the page on the book. Bobby, are you ready? Okay. Always, I can't read that, Bobby. What does it say? Always learn something new tonight. Okay. All right, here we go, Bobby. And then we're gonna let Julie do some cards for you too, I think.
You stay there.
There we go. Celebration. Okay. And do 3 cards for you, Bobby. I'm trying to focus and I'm trying to see it from this angle and I'm trying to line it up. Bobby, I'll take a picture of these cards for you. Don't worry about trying to read it now, but if you wanted to, you can always pause the film and try to read it that way later. Not the film, but the video. All right. And the last one. I think we just had this one. No, wait, no, this is the ace. No, wait, the 6 of abundance. There we go. There we go. Now, see, that's a little bit different than the other card, too. Because the other card, you had to go right up against the camera almost. All right, let me go ahead and take this picture here, and you can go ahead and work on my cards if you're ready. Bob, I'm going to send these to your Skype, so don't worry about that. I'm going to get that right now. I think the snowplow came by today and had a trash can out there for the trash guys to pick up, and the can was on its side. So I'm guessing the snowplow did not see it. Or maybe the snow just got to it. I don't know. However, the snow, we had like 4 inches. Plowable snow.
How many inches?
4 inches.
Is that it?
Yeah. For today. Now next week we got 3 days of snow coming next week, which is going to be snow and ice and rain and something about lightning and thunder, and we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff. Oh boy. So I remember when I was in North Carolina, we had a situation that we called thunder snow. And what that is right before a major snowstorm, which we didn't really get too much snow where I was at. But it used to, you'd have the one thunderstorm, and then you'd have a major snowstorm, which was kind of weird how that worked out. But that's how that worked out. Pretty darn cool, if you ask me, when you realize the weather stuff. Okay, now I'm going to send this to Bobby, and we're good to go. All right. Bobby, let me know if that's good enough for you. If it's not, I can take another picture of it. You will have to zoom in on those cards to get them. All right, there we go. Now I'm good to go. I did
Is
send
it
the
my
link. Go ahead.
is it my turn?
It's your turn if you want to do some readings.
Okay.
All right. I love doing these readings, and we kind of do tandem. When you read for Bobby, if you read for Bobby, he gets a double dose, and sometimes
Okay,
you
well,
get.
I'm tuning into you, Ron.
Go ahead.
Um, do you have some sort of brace that you have to wear?
No, not
Um,
yet. Not yet. I have a bad leg that I'm dealing with that I told you about.
well, this is more like a. Anyways,
I never had one in this life. No, that's strange. Okay,
huh?
I had one. I had. I've only been in. Let's see. One, two. Okay, I was in a motorcycle accident without a helmet, and I got this shoulder messed up, which the collarbone never was reset, and that's why it has a lump on my back because the shoulder blade sticks out, and the collarbone, one side is sticking out rather a little bit larger than the other one. You actually feel along the collarbone. You can tell where it kind of like goes off in another direction than what it should, and it does cause some kind of pain every now and then. But there's nothing I could do about that because they didn't reset it when it was new, you know. And
Did you wear when you rode a motorcycle? Did you wear like leathers or some sort of protective gear?
I did not. I had boots and gloves. That's it.
What a
And
rebel.
I have when I wrecked, I can still see a scar on my arm here and on my shoulder. When I look over here on my shoulder, I can see the scar from when I was going along the pavement. And I have I don't know if it ever came out there. Without a helmet, I went around a regular street corner. This was right before I wrecked. Let me tell you the story. I thought I had I had everything I needed to know in life. I knew all the answers. Um, 17 years old, just got my motorcycle license. I could do anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm driving 110 on the highway or freeway, California freeway. I
Since the San
594.
Diego area?
No, in San Francisco, in Northern California. And
Oh, 125, the 660 over there. And
yeah, it's one of the ones that was going from the Bay Area to my place, whatever. But I don't know if I was that far over. It's like Hayward to. I lived in Pleasanton, California, if you know where that's
yeah,
at.
I know.
And I also, grew up in Hayward, so I knew people in different areas. So for some reason, I was coming back from the ridge for some reason, coming over the ridge and on the highway. And I was doing for some reason, I thought I could do this. I was doing 110 on this motorcycle. No helmet. I don't know. I don't know how I survived that. But I'm going that fast. When you're going that fast, your vision is very tunneled. Tunnel vision. Okay? You're going so fast, you're looking right in front of you because everything's zipping past you so fast. Okay? Again, that was before the helmet law. I had no helmet. All right. Now, what happened was I was racing with a friend of mine. He was driving a Mustang at the time. And I was trying to keep up with him, which I was doing, until we got off the freeway. And then he turned around the corner on this street, and I ran into some gravel. Gravel is not friendly to motorcycle tires. You know, 4 tires on a car. Yeah, exactly. And I slid out. I had a friend of mine on the back, and he jumped off, and he wound
Oh,
up with
crap.
he wound up with 2 sprained wrists. He didn't get too much damage. Lucky for me, my dad on the bike had some roll bars, crash bars or roll bars on the sides to protect in case of a rollover or wreck. And so lucky for that, I would have had broken legs, obviously, in that situation if those roll bars weren't there. But that's where I got the piece of gravel in my head from the pavement with the gravel on it that caused me to wreck.
Mhm.
And that's when I learned a new respect for the most part. I mean, there was a couple of other times in my life when I've gone 110, which we don't do that anymore, knowing the laws. Now, if you do that, you can actually lose your license. So,
I don't go that fast.
no,
I'll
I
go
don't. I don't do
110.
that anymore. But and every time that I've done this, so in the I think 3 or 4 times I've actually gone 110 on a vehicle, either a car or the motorcycle. To once on a motorcycle, but car a couple of times, and even in a large car, your tunnel vision, it's really weird. Cause you're like going faster than normal. Now I don't know how a race car does it when they're doing 200 miles an hour.
They
You know,
just make left turns,
yeah, yeah, but they're looking right in front of them. You know what I mean? And
right?
they see
Yeah.
beside them, with the mirrors and things like that. But in general, how do they keep focus when they're going in that circle like that? I mean, I found it hard enough where you get in a trance just going in a straight line. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah. So I mean, you could do that doing 60 miles an hour. You don't have to do 110. But you were kind of like time traveling in that moment. You're going a little bit faster than normal clip, and you are going faster than the 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. so, so you are going a little bit faster than the speed of time, if you want to call it like that. And so, ordinary speed anyway. But then, yeah, so I had that wreck, and then I had a wreck where I was first started working third shift on a custodial job at a church in Sacramento, or Rancho Cordova actually.
and
And I
so
was driving, and I went to go turn and change lanes, and I blacked out, and it was at a signal. Never change lanes at a signal. Never ever do that. Again, they tell you that. Of course, I wasn't paying attention then when I did that. And I went through the intersection, but I blacked out. I was out for no reason. I just shut down, gone. And bam, I smashed into this other car. And I was doing, 45 or whatever it was in the speed limit for that time. And old people were in the other car. I had a Buick LeSabre 76, big car, right? They had a big car, like a Lincoln Continental or something like that. So, I mean, everyone was protected with the giant cars. you know,
those things are boats. They're like
yeah.
tanks. They're
So,
like
I mean, that was a good thing that
20
we all had
feet
protection.
long.
But no, the biggest problem I had with that one was my insurance. I had full coverage on my car because I was paying on it, right? And you have to have full coverage on your vehicle when it's under a loan. And so I had full coverage on it, which meant medical. Everything was paid, or it was supposed to be paid. but they decided, I'm not going to tell who it was, but they decided not to pay for the other car. I kept getting letters from the other people's insurance saying, well, you got to pay them so much money, this or that or whatever. So I ended up taking my insurance company to court, to a lawyer, and eventually they ended up having to pay a lot of money, including paying me for the headache that they caused me for not paying. So, I got like $4,000 out of that deal. 8,000 settlement, but 4,000 I had to pay to the lawyer. But the other people got paid, which I'm glad. They got their medical covered and everything like that. But that's how sometimes some of the insurance companies work. Be careful with that now. Not all of them. I'm just saying this particular one I had was not very respectable in that case. I'm not saying they're that way now, but at that time, maybe I didn't do something right or I didn't understand something. So I had that wreck, and then I had one where I was driving a Geo Metro. You know what that is? I was driving a
It's
little
a
Geo Metro delivering pizza. This was
roller
back
skate car.
in North Carolina, and I had this woman back out of her driveway, probably doing 40 miles an hour in reverse, right? And smashes into the side of my car. She's not watching. I'm in the road. And all of a sudden, I'm in the church property on the side of the road. Well, I have glass all over my arm and on the side of my face and didn't get in my eyes. But, the window was down, but the mirror got hit, and everything. And that was crazy. But those were probably one of the biggest uh, wrecks that I've had that makes no sense. So,
Mm.
but yeah, so now for brace, the only kind of brace I had braces. Funny thing is, I don't have any teeth now. A lot of good the braces did. But anyway, I had one of those steel brackets that help adjust your jaw, and that was a pain in the neck to wear all the time. That was the only kind of a bracket that I had. And then, well, I used to wear a wrist thing for bowling when I went bowling. That's about it.
Now I was getting like a full on like suit or something. Like,
No, I had there was a one time when I was in San Diego, I did have a weather suit, like a flight suit type of thing. I wore something like that where I could ride in the rain, as long as the bike didn't get shorted out. I could ride in the rain without getting wet. So I had
huh?
that. Yeah, and that was pretty nice. I actually had to do that once. It was not fun riding in the rain.
Now you get like stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
you got two wheels. You're going 55 miles an hour. And you're hydroplaning on two wheels. Not a good idea. So I'm just saying. That was the only time I had anything like that. Yeah, and
rain
I
in
went,
San Diego.
and that was in San Diego. That in the rain. Yeah, it rained there a little bit, and we actually had snow in Alpine, California, on Highway 5, and we had bad snow one year, which was kind of interesting. Um, and then one time it rained really bad, and we were helping somebody that lived in the area where the mudslide got onto their property and they clear out the driveway like a snow shovel. We had to clean out the mud
down
shovel. Had to
down
get
in
them
San
out.
Diego.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And that was
yeah,
nice.
there's a lot of
Hey, Tin Man, magnet fishing. What's going on? A fellow prospector of mine. I don't think he's a moderator. Tin Man, would you want to be moderator? I can make you a moderator if you want. Julie, are you a moderator?
okay.
I don't know if you're.
Are you ready for your
Yeah,
card reading?
yeah.
All right, new beginnings, Ron. New beginnings.
Ooh, nice.
Begin your new life.
I think I'm working on it. Now, can you take a picture of that?
Yeah, I'll take a picture of all three and send them.
Yeah.
A dolphin. Don't worry. Be happy.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry about all the nonsense going on. Okay. And their third card is face your fears, release the power of fear.
And you know what? Now, you didn't know about my dream research that I want to get into.
Nope.
There you go. So that's part of relieving the fear. You know what I mean?
Well, look, this person's asleep.
Yeah. And you didn't know that before I told you tonight. And begin a new life. Yeah, I got some things that are happening here that I never had even a thought of, you know. And so, um, oh, wonderful. Yeah,
Pretty, pretty, pretty.
wonderful. All right, Tin Man, would you want a reading like Bobby? Well, Bobby first, and Tin Man. Bobby's been waiting all this time as we've been yakking away and talking about craziness. Now, um, a thing with nature, though. All right, now when I took scuba diving lessons. I don't know if you knew that.
No,
But,
this is like, I don't know. Do you dream about like being in a spacesuit? Like being like, not so much a spacesuit, but because what it really feels like or looks like to me is, the material that duffel bags are made out of.
yeah, yeah,
So it's like a suit like that. And it's padded,
yeah. I know what you mean.
and it's it's not real tight, but it is form fitting. So
Now
it can.
you know what this could be. All right. Now I did scuba dive, which I had to wear a wetsuit. Okay. But beyond that, though, say another, this could be another dimension or another thing that you're seeing. You know, another part that
Yeah,
I'm not expecting, but I kind of remember what you're talking about.
it yeah,
But
and it's you use it like for missions.
yeah, yeah.
I
And I know exactly what you're talking about, but I cannot explain it. I really
I
cannot.
can't I don't fully connect to it. That's why I had to ask you about it.
Yeah,
I'm picking up weird stuff anymore, like during readings.
yeah. No, that's
Um,
good. Nothing bad. Nothing negative. Just odd. Right?
well, that's odd. No, I actually pick stuff up that people aren't aware, especially like trauma survivors that have had a lot of trauma. And I think I'm doing this right now because I've had trauma in my life.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
trauma can be in many different levels on any situation.
well, these are extreme cases.
Okay.
And this particular person didn't was unaware that,
Oh, they didn't know they had trauma.
well, they are aware that they had trauma. They were unaware of this specific trauma in their life.
Okay.
Um, a specific bruising on their body.
Yeah.
And they looked into it and they actually were able to find photographs confirming what I told them at the
Now
age that they were.
you notice I shaved, right? So
Yeah.
uh,
Did
on
you
my
have a
left,
hot date?
huh?
Did you have a hot date or a dentist?
No. I just wanted to look. I want to look good for you tonight. There you go. No, I
It smelled good too.
Oh, there you go. No, I have a birthmark on my cheek. You know, like a Richard Thomas guy. You know, he has a birthmark on his cheek. You know, the brown
Huh?
spot that's on his cheek.
John Boy?
Yeah. And what's interesting is I don't have any teeth now. In this life, I have zero teeth. They're all gone. Now, in the time when I got this, a lot of times birthmarks are a symbol of an injury from something.
Right.
So if I was in a battle in whatever lifetime we're talking about, it could be the future, it could be the past, whatever, that would cause my teeth to be gone now.
Well, it could also mean that that could have been an abscess where
Yeah.
you've lost your teeth in this lifetime. It could have been the same sort of occurrence in that lifetime, that prior lifetime,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, where you also lost your teeth.
But I couldn't imagine what would happen here, either a shot or a
It
sword or something, you
it
know?
could have been an
Yeah.
abscess from the nerves of
Okay.
losing your teeth.
Okay.
I mean, because it was really common to die from like.
But now you were talking about the suit thing now just a little bit ago. I believe I'm from variable variable times, right?
Yeah,
I explained that.
we all are.
And
I'm gonna get Bobby here because poor
yeah, go
Bobby's up
ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Go
And then
ahead.
I don't know if Tin Man wanted one or not. He didn't say yes or no. But uh in the future time with the suit, when we have to do our exploring, either we go, we can go outside of the ship, or we can go on another planet or whatever. And of course, you do have to wear protection in a lot of places.
Okay, I got this
And, and so
message.
that would be the suit that you're talking about. Go ahead.
Um, take a leap of faith, Bobby. There's something you want to do it. And you got Battle of the Blues, okay? Take steps towards positive change. I feel like you're trying to break some sort of behavior pattern, and you just need to, what you need to do, so just do that versus like falling back into that same pattern of behavior. And this last card is cheer up, live in the moment. So this is connected to that last card. So I feel like you're doing some personal growth here. It may not seem huge to you, but these little steps are adding up. Okay, Bobby? I
You
hope
should
that
have
helps, Bob.
you should have Bobby on Facebook, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants these.
Oh yeah, he probably would, and then you can read them.
Um, Speaking of past lives,
Or future lives.
yeah, or existences, I am
Yeah.
actually going to be releasing. Is it on the 14th, on Wednesday? I've been working. Oh, I gotta retake this.
Try it again.
This is not good. So, um, the first part of my past life hypnosis
Oh,
session I
okay.
did with yeah.
Cool.
So the first part's coming out Wednesday. I need to edit the next 9.
Wow.
So I'm gonna release them little by little with John. So
Yeah, good. Good deal.
it's that's really heavy. You'll see when it comes out. It's really heavy in my 1787
Oh
um,
wow.
lifetime, where I was Thomas Paine. So
You were Thomas Paine.
Yeah.
So now you can have, so now in our different lifetimes, then we can be different altogether. In other words,
Well, we're still that infinite divine being, right?
yeah,
Um it's just we have that different expressions when as linear time happens, right?
okay,
So to speak.
all right, that's interesting. Okay,
So I actually had two other parallel lifetimes in that lifetime.
oh wow,
I was a black female slave and I was also a white woman
hmm,
simultaneously at the same time that I was Thomas Paine.
well that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that one's a really hard one to like wrap your
I don't mean weird and as in bad or in goofy or anything. Just weird, odd.
well, we don't think in terms of that. So it's
Yeah,
really hard to grasp that, you know, concept.
yeah.
So yeah.
And then
Uh,
Tin Man, is Tin Man still here? He only said hello, and then that's all he says. I don't want to miss anybody and not give them a reading, but I don't want to give them a reading if they're not into it or they don't like it, you know. But yeah. So, uh, have you ever been in a natural situation? Natural. Well, yeah. You're you were in Reno right before, and did you have a fire up there, or was that south of you?
what do you
But,
what
like they
fire?
had the major forest fires in California.
Oh, I was pretty much surrounded by them.
Okay.
It was pretty smoky up there because I don't know what they were called. I don't watch the news, but I was just surrounded by them.
Right.
There was one north, east, no,
Okay.
northwest,
Okay. Well,
southwest, and then west of me. All of that was burning. And, Reno is kind of like a valley. So it, it'd
have
just
you
be
been you've been
thick
in
smoke.
earthquakes in California and that area? You've been in earthquakes, right?
You know, I felt a lot more earthquakes when I lived in South Lake Tahoe and in Reno than I
Oh.
do when I live in the Central Valley here.
Oh
It's
wow.
kind of, yeah, it's really strange. Like, I'm like, is that an earthquake?
Well, yeah.
And then
What's interesting was with
I checked.
the yeah with the earthquake, I got to where growing up in the Bay Area there, we used to feel them all the time, and I used to get to where I can actually gauge them just from knowing, again, being connected with the planet, okay, as we are. And at that young age, I already realized I was connected to the planet,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And so I could pretty much tell what the size of the quake was. All right. So what was interesting was I paid attention to my dog. All right. Dog had 4-wheel drive, all four legs, right?
Right.
So she's running out to the front door when the house is rocking and moving and the wood floors are shifting. You know what I mean? And you can't walk, you can't run out the door on two legs like that because you're going all over the place because of the force of the movement. All right. So now I'm thinking, well, I can get on all fours like my dog and get right on out, and I did. I did exactly that. And I followed her right to the front door. We got out to the front door and got across to the school field. And I turned around and looked, and I could see the neighborhood doing this wave thing. The house is doing this, right? And
Yeah.
then I felt a giant bump on the ground right underneath me. And I said, that was a 7.1. on the scale, Richter scale, right?
Was this when you lived in San
This was
Diego
in
or Pleasanton?
Pleasanton, California. And there's Venus. Hey, Venus, would you like a reading?
Scoopy doopy doo.
And so I could tell you exactly what that scale of that earthquake was. Now, when we went back and looked at the news, guess what it was? 7.1.
7.1.
And I had no fear of them at all because I could read them. I
Hmm.
actually kind of knew when some of them were going to happen. And I never was afraid of them. Never. Okay. Now, there was, if you can read the chat, I don't know what she's saying. I can't see the writing there.
She says,
Um,
dazzle me, darling. Dazzle me. Yes, please. Dazzle me.
So, when I was on my ship though, and I can't remember what year this was. Was it 81? I actually looked it up on the records. I wrote it down in the logbook, and I had to keep a record of the weather. And anyway, we were in a typhoon in Hong Kong. I was tied to the mooring buoy in Hong Kong Bay. All right, we were all out on the shore getting drunk, having a good time. We had 1,200 Marines and our 500 crew member, right? All out on the ship except for the people that were on duty. You know, a handful of people, 100 people maybe on the ship that were on duty. You know, still on the
Mm-hmm.
ship, but everyone else was on shore having a good time, and what sailors do, right? So anyway, the typhoon comes in, and we all have to get back to the ship. We're all drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not the best time to be going back to the ship.
No.
But we're on call. We're on duty. We're serving the United States of America for the safety of everybody. And our ship is about to get clobbered by this giant storm that's coming in, which it was I classified it as a level 1 because of the wind speeds, but they said it was a tropical storm, and like bullshit.
Uh,
It was more than that. What happened with our ship, though, okay, is we were tied to the mooring buoy, and we got underway with 250 members of our crew, which takes 500 to make sure the ship is running safely. And so we're going into the storm with 250 members that is trying to control the ship. Okay, now the kind of ship I was on, if you look this up, is LPD, Landing Personnel Dock, and it was a flat bottom ship. Okay, and so it doesn't ride the waves very well. It rocks badly. Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't go very fast. It's only 21 knots an hour. So it's not very fast. But our goal was that we can get into the shoreline and drop the Marines off and let them get onto the beach and then get out of there. And no other ship can do that because the keel, most keels are like a V shape. Well, our keel was flat like a table, you know. And so, um, in any case, we went into the storm. But before we got released from the buoy and we brought our chain up, it had broken through. Okay, when you went through the bullnose on the bow of the ship, there is a bullnose anchor guide, chain guide goes out to the front of the ship, and then the chain goes down, and then you're tied to the buoy. Okay, well, the chain broke through that iron shoe thing. Okay, broke the railing all the way across, and it landed on the capstan that was for the line, for the rope or the line. Okay, and then the link on the chain, the one side of the chain link is as wide as my thigh, if you know how big that is. All right, so 16 inches for a chain link side, just one side. That was broken in half,
wow.
except for one side of that chain link. So we saved the anchor. The anchor that we would have lost would have been $65,000 to replace.
But that was way back in the 80s too.
This was in 81 or 1983, one of those two. I got to look it up on the weather report. It's actually on the report. But in any case, we went into that storm. We moved out of the bay, left our Marines, 1,200 Marines. They're on shore still, and the other half of our crew is still on shore. Yeah, they're just trying to stay dry. The area is really plagued with the typhoons, like Florida is with the hurricanes all the time. But we went into the storm, and as we're going into the storm, we're going forward into the waves. So you're cutting through it. The waves are going over the ship. Okay, going like this. Okay. Now when we decided to turn, but before we did that, before we were going into the waves, we were doing this business like that. So imagine a flat bottom ship, 37 degrees on the bulkhead behind me. I was on the lee helm on the engine order telegraph, which told the engine room how to put the engines at what speed. And they have little handles and you hang on for dear life in this situation. And as long as that doesn't move, then you're good. Or as long as it
Well,
doesn't.
I got seasick
But
on this trip.
I'm hanging on to this thing. I'm looking at this gauge on the back of the bulkhead, behind me, and it's going like this on a pendulum. It's going 37, like 37 and a half degrees, actually. The wing of the ship, the wings are the side of the ship of the bridge where you can go out and you take pictures. You can look at the coastline or whatever. And that was when you don't touch the water as it's rolling. Okay. 37 and a half degree rolls. Imagine that now. You're hanging on. My boatswain's mate that was not hanging on, he was about a 280-pound guy. His feet was wet from being outside, and he slipped and he hit the bulkhead at probably about 10 miles an hour, probably, but it didn't feel good, I'm sure. But anyway, we finally decided to go into the wave zone, and then it was like the water was going over the signal bridge. Signal bridge was quite a bit in the next deck above me. Okay, so but imagine the whole ship was being covered by the wave, by the water going over it.
I'm
But we finally got
seasick
to
and
the center of
cold.
the storm. We got to the center of the storm, though. That was one time I was never afraid of dying, and I never have been afraid of dying. That one time when I was singing, "I'm ready, let's go." I'm ready to meet you.
Jeez.
Let's go. So
What?
that's just one thing I wanted to say about that. Never been
We're
afraid of dying, and that was one time when I faced death right, looking right at it.
like what was going through your mind when you were sitting there looking at these controls, like
Well,
unbelievable readings, like
I was thinking that this was it. I made my peace already. I knew I was good to go. I'm not afraid to face the next step, and I'm still taking that look at it today. Okay, so I've never been afraid to die, not once. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I never been afraid. Never been necessarily wrapped up or curious about it, but I'm more curious about where we came from and where we are going. But I'm not worried about it. Okay, I'm not overly stressed out about it.
yeah,
But
you got a
whatever.
future like driving like hovercrafts
I think so.
and
I'm
wearing
good. I'm good.
outfits.
Let's go. All right. So
Like,
Venus
nothing
wanted
new for
Venus wanted
you.
a reading.
Venus. So I'm pulled her some cards already.
Oh, good.
Potential. Think big for your future. So don't lose faith in your dreams and your aspirations there. So face your fears. Release the power of fear. So there is some fear there. You are aware of those aspects, and they're more I feel like they're more self-talk that's like doubt, doubt, fear. You keep, it's doubting yourself and causing more of that fear. Um, and things have kind of like been a bit, things aren't moving forward fast enough for you. And just that this is angels of miracles. So there's, something coming ahead of you that is going to um, help you in your personal growth. And I feel like this is business or a project that you're working on. Just know it's all going to work out for you. And the outcome is going to be miraculous for you, Venus. So good luck with that.
Oh, notice. Mark water.
You, like, literally, I was there on the boat with you, and I was getting seasick. I was feeling like cold. Ugh.
See, now some other interesting stories about that. I don't know if Venus needs a picture of those cards or not, but I always like try to make sure everybody gets what they need.
Well, I just shuffled them.
Okay.
You can go back and watch the show.
There you go.
First one was potential. Second one was face your fears. Third one was angel miracles.
There you go. Good. You got a good memory, because I think I remember the only one that was in the second one. But another time when we went on the Westpac, I went on 2 Westpacs. All right, 81 and 83.
I was a kid. I was in 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe 9th grade.
Yeah. And what's interesting is when you go on those Westpacs, okay, and in my case, we had to go through the Indian Ocean. Now, what's interesting is the Indian Ocean is just you think, oh, it's ocean, it's nice, it's not bad at all, tropical. Yeah, except it's 125 degrees all day long. And the humidity is probably 80%, right, or higher.
Okay? There, is it that high there?
Yeah. And
is
it is tropical, but
no. And so it rains, but it's hot, and you're still sweating when you get out of the shower, or still showering.
We didn't see any rain that I know of. We saw maybe a few rain showers over the 45 days we were having to live through that mess. But the interesting thing about that is that when you go through that Indian Ocean for 45 days, you have 125-degree temperatures. You have no way to cool off, no way to keep cool. You got heat rash from the heat, you know what I mean? It's just terrible all the way around. And then the interesting thing about that is when we go to South Korea and it's wintertime, just like that, it changes. Just within the same week, you go from the hot summer setting to South Korea, which is wintertime. And now, imagine how that is. Just the thing that your body has to go through to change.
Did a lot of people, when they go through that heat, were they getting like bloody noses?
Not me. No.
Did you see a lot of that?
Not that I know of. No, I don't remember. I don't recall anything like that. Um, I just noticed that when I walk out on the wing, like on the wing of the bridge, the side of the bridge I was telling you about, when I walk out to do uh, my job as far as looking at the weather or whatever I had to do, and the steel of the ship, I could feel it through my half-inch soles of my leather boots. Okay, so
Oh
in other
God.
words, they were like melting almost to the steel of the ship. So now on the flip side of that, when you got to Korea, South Korea, there you're anchored in the bay and it's winter time and it's snowing in the bay. All right, and you're anchored. Now, when you had to go inside, and I'm relaxing after in between my duties of the watch period. When you're anchored, you have to sit there and take what they call fixes of different things on the shore to make sure that your anchor isn't slipping. Okay, so if you know anything about uh, sailing or boating or anything like that, but anyway, when you're anchored, you're hoping that you're not slipping because obviously you don't want to slip and run ashore or get loose and go out to the ocean without any control. But anyway, you're taking a fix every 15 minutes of the shoreline of different, like the lighthouse, different landscapes, like the mountains or different things that you'd have. You can take a fix of, and then you can put it on your chart and tell if you're moving or not. And thankfully, we never had any trouble with us moving. But the interesting thing was there was a radar power supply that I would lean on because it was cold outside. Right, you're talking about 35, 30 degrees, and inside it's like 70. You know what I mean? And so when you got all the doors closed and everything, it's like 70 degrees inside, and I'm leaning against this radar power supply, and I have my hands in my pocket and in my gloves, and then I got to go out and use this piece of metal. Now imagine your hands are frozen, or your hands are sweaty from being inside your pocket, right, or inside the gloves, and but on the machine called it was a scope called an alidade. You can look that up. Alidade, Alidade, alidade. And it's a scope that can have two different directions of a view. All right, and it's sat on top of a gyroscope, which 360 degrees, 360-degree marking on the gyroscope, and add it's a compass, okay. And on the scope, you can look at the shoreline, and you can look down at the dial to tell what degree or what angle you're at. Okay, and then you would record that, and then you go look on your chart, where you're at. Okay, so anyway, on this sensitive piece of metal object, you couldn't wear your gloves because you had to turn dials, and you had to feel the dials to turn them. You know what I mean? So you couldn't wear gloves. So your hands are sweaty, and okay, now the metal has been sitting out there in the 35, 30-degree weather. What's going to happen when your sweaty hands grab a hold of the metal? Exactly. And then
It's like
you pull your hand off, and you leave part of your hand on there. You can't help it. That's the way it goes.
it's
You
like a
know.
Christmas story.
Yeah. But this
What
was
is
this
his name? Flick, and he licks the pole, and he
but
gets
in
his
order to
tongue
use the
stuck.
machine, in order to use that scope and machine part of machinery correctly, you have to have it in you have to feel it in your hand and be able to turn the
Right.
dial correctly. And if you don't do that, then you're going to get the wrong reading or something's not going to be right. But I've several times in South Korea, I pulled my hand off of that and felt like I left my fingerprints somewhere.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's kind of things that I endured, for everybody's freedom that we have today. So there you go.
Thank you, Ron. You still have your fingerprints.
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, a lot of good they're doing me right now. I don't know. But anyway, uh, But there's that. But no, there's a lot of other fun things. No, I did go to Australia twice, first in Sydney, and at 19 years old, and that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Um, Perth was like a church town almost, like a
Hmm.
really good Christian town. Actually, they had a program where you could dial a sailor. Basically, you'd call them, and they'd come and pick you up and let you stay at their house for a week. So we had maximum liberty, so I didn't have to worry about duty time, and I would usually pay somebody to do my duty days anyway. And then I'd just go out and be gone for a whole week if we had maximum liberty, right? So uh, I'd call these people in Perth, and they'd come and pick me up, and I'd stay at their house for a week. They'd feed you, give you a place to stay, and treat you like family,
Right.
and show you around in town, different sites and things like that, and
That's
then
where one of my favorite actors, late actors,
yeah,
uh, Heath Ledger was from Perth.
yeah, and then send you, and then they'll take you back to your ship when it's time for you to go home. Go back to the ship and go on your way. And then we went around Melbourne and didn't get to stop there. But then we went to Sydney. Now the difference between Perth and Sydney is like this town where I'm at now and San Francisco. Two different settings. All right. So
Right.
this town would be like Perth, very friendly, nice, neighborly, everybody's friendly, and everybody knows everybody and all that kind of thing. It's Perth. And then Sydney is like San Francisco, crazy party town. And went to a strip club there, and had a lot of fun, got to meet some new people and new friends and everything like that. And again, I was 19 years old. I was a sailor, doing what a sailor does, right? So we had a lot of fun all that time, and really kind of interesting though to realize some of the things you go through in life, and just that right there, and those two stops.
So you were in the music. Did you see any bands while you were there in Australia? Like that was kind of
Um,
coming out of the disco era.
uh, I went past the Great Orchestra Hall. Never got to go in it. I got to go past it though.
That's cool. You saw it.
Yeah, I saw it, and it was like cool to see. And
It's
but
like seeing the Sears Tower,
at
driving
that
by the
time,
Sears
at that
Tower.
time when I went past it in 1981, um, it was a little higher than I could afford for my budget to even get in the
Yeah.
door, and it just was not anything I was really interested in as far as spending that kind of money to see any kind of singing, anybody opera or whatever, like, oh, that's crazy talk at that time. Again, I was 19 years old. I wasn't wanting to go to no opera. So, but no, I didn't really see much of anything on that. In the Philippines, we used to go to a couple of nightclubs. Uh, Philippines was like our second home overseas. I used to rent an apartment with a family, a woman and a family that pay like $300 for a whole month,
Hmm.
and they'd cook for you, take care of you, and you wouldn't have to worry about going hungry or nothing. You'd be warm, you'd have heat and everything, and they'd show you around town. Again, really nice people. That was Longapo City or Longapo, yeah, and but they used to have some nightclubs there. That was a crazy place. Country, they'd have Asian people singing country, and they were good. And they sang rock and roll too. They had Asian people singing American rock and roll music. We're like, how in the heck do they sound like the real guy?
And when they talked, did they have that country western twang?
Um, I think if they put it on an act, they did. Uh, but I don't think normally they don't. I don't think they talk quite that way. But they had their regular accent, with their Asian Filipino type accent. Tagalog was the
What
language.
was your reaction to that? You're
Um,
like, what's going on here?
yeah, I didn't know how they could sound like they were American when they were singing, and there was no difference in their voice. But when they were talking, and they have their own accent, their own voice, their own sounding, it was like, how can they sound so much different?
Right? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And so I just got another drink and forgot it. Let's have another beer.
Let's sing along.
Yeah,
You know all the songs because they're
yeah,
old, classics, right?
that's right. That's right. That was some good times though. That was let's have 19 the first time, and then 20, 23 the second time, or something like that, or 22 the second time. Yeah, 83. Yeah. So
What a way to go see the world, though.
yeah, I did it for free. I did well, except for my time. I did it for free though. And there was a lot of headaches, but at the same time, I had a good time at it, and I don't know that it ever. I might have done things a little bit differently if I would have had some forethought about what I wanted to do for a career. But when I was getting out of high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I only know now that I want to do this, what we're doing right now, and I wanted to do some kind of broadcasting, which is what we do at our radio, and so that's what I know I want to do now. But at 19, I didn't necessarily know that. Okay. And I really had no aim or goal or any kind of direction as to which way I wanted to go. And it was frustrating. And so when they gave me an option I could be in submarine school, go to submarine school, and work with the nuclear warheads and everything like that, and it's like, first of all, I don't want to be underwater for 6 months, and not be able to see the sunshine for 6 months. When you do a Westpac on a submarine, basically you're underwater 90% of that time. And it's like, I can't do that. Physically, I can't do that. Or mentally, whatever you want to call it. And so then they said, well, you could go on a surface ship, and you can either do uh, something to do with the planes, with the helicopters, with the flight deck, or you can do navigation. And it was like, well, flight deck, I can get my head cut off. Not that I was ever worried about dying, but I didn't want to lose my head, you know.
Uh-huh.
So, so it was like, navigation sounds like the easiest route to go. So that's what I decided to do. And what I know now with my all all encompassing lifespan, or my eternal existence, I know that in the future I'm a navigator of a different type of a ship.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, you always have been.
And that was my primary job as a navigator. Okay. From my day of creation. Okay.
So I got to ask you, so when you were 8, what did you want to grow up to be at 8?
Well, I had a couple of ideas. I wanted to be a stunt actor, right? I used to jump off the swing sets and try to see if I can roll right without breaking anything. I never broke anything. I always had good landing, but that wasn't quite the right career path for me. Trying to break into that acting business was difficult. Now, in high school, I did do 5 plays. Of
Uh,
course, I can only remember 4 of them, but I did 5. I know I did 5. But Um,
At 8, you wanted to be an actor.
yeah, and so in high school I ended up going into drama because I had to have some kind of elective class
Right.
that they wanted me to take, and I didn't want to learn a language. I could have taken another language, and that could have been an elective, but that's boring, you know. Didn't want to. I already knew languages. I didn't need to learn anymore, you know, and on that. And so I knew them well enough to understand what they are, you know, who they are, whatever. And even today, I can tell you what languages somebody is talking and say, you know, I can
Yeah.
read something and tell you what it is. And I might not be able to tell you exactly what the word is, but I can tell you what language it is. You know what I mean? And so, like on Star Trek, when you're talking about communications officer Lieutenant Uhura, she said, "Oh, that's a such and such language," until exactly right away, linguistic or whatever. How do you say that? I know. Anyway, in my case, I wanted to be an actor, and then I was thinking, wait, I want to do something with law enforcement, maybe. But then I thought, no, I don't want to do that. That's too much work.
Huh.
And then I noticed, my dad was in the Navy, my brother was in the Navy. I was thinking, must be the mad thing to do to go into the Navy. So I thought, well, let's go into the Navy and see if I can figure out what I want to do.
Huh.
And so I wound up in the Navy. I didn't even tell my dad that I was going in the Navy or nobody. I just went and signed up and joined the early entrance thing where I was only like 17 when I signed up, but when I graduated high school, I'd go right in, to boot camp and then go into the A school and go on to my merry way. But yeah, nobody even knew I signed up.
Wow.
So, and then when I turned 18, I graduated from high school, and then I went, 19, whatever. 79 was when I graduated from high school, and in 1980 I went into the boot camp in May
Uh-huh.
1980. Yeah. So, but before that though, I had my scuba diving experience in 79, I think it was, right before the Navy, and I did my first open water test. Okay, in the Monterey Bay.
Huh.
Now there's a trench that goes way deep, just goes down in levels, has different levels like steps, almost like
Uh-huh.
a pyramid, right? And
Uh-huh.
it goes down and keep going as you're looking. You're not thinking about how deep you're going. Now, in the first open water dive, you're only supposed to go like 60 feet, because we don't know anything about decompression. At 60 feet, you don't have to worry about decompressing. After 60 feet, you have to worry about decompressing. Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was at 95 feet, not knowing. Now I was so excited about breathing underwater. I mean, who would have thought that I could breathe underwater with my regulator, my mask, my tank, everything like that? It was so cool. And I was so excited though. And I was breathing faster than I should have been breathing, which
Ah.
meant that I ran out of air. But what happened was, as I was at 90 feet and I looked at my depth gauge and I was thinking, oh shit, I'm 30 feet under where I'm supposed to be. So I tried to hurry up and get back up there, which I probably shouldn't have hurried up and did that. That could be where some of my vein issue is with my circulation, okay? Which
Ah.
could be causing this, what I'm dealing with now, even.
Yeah.
And
Oh, jeez.
anyway, in my case, though, is I I managed to get within 10 feet of the surface, and I'm out of air. I have no oxygen. 10 feet below the surface, no air. I'm struggling to get to the surface where I can breathe. All right. Finally, I do, and I'm barely hanging on. Um, my legs are cramping up, and I'm using my arms to just get to the surface to where I can breathe and stay above the surface and breathe. Now, what happens is I still have to go through the surf where you're supposed to be using your regulator when you go through the surf because you can't use a snorkel because the waves would come in, you know what I mean? So I drank some salt water that day when I was going back through the surf and getting onto the beach. But obviously I survived. I'm here. But the point is, you know, pay attention to what's going on around you
Right?
and know your limits on anything that we're doing. Know the limits. So whether it be, hiking or whatever. Sometimes we go hiking and sometimes we get to exploring and we forget where we're at. And we might wind up in a situation where we don't want to be. Like we might wind up with a strange animal looking at us, nowadays. Who knows?
I moved
Uh,
back to the Central Valley here and I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't have to worry about the bears.
yeah, right?
Just the
Little,
crackheads and the drive-bys. That's all.
yeah, but little do you know they do have black bears down where you are. They do have
uh,
black bears in your area.
not directly.
Okay. Not normally, rather.
No, no, there's not.
Okay.
Or
All right.
maybe a black bear diner. That's about it.
But like you said, you do have to worry about the shootings and the different gang related issues, but it's just nonsense, which shouldn't have to worry about that. That's why I
Traffic
moved out of the city, though. See,
and traffic. Good God.
I don't have any traffic except for once in a while I have to wait for a car that's coming by at the stop sign. That's the
Dear
only
Lord.
traffic I have to worry about.
Yeah, be aware of your surroundings
Yeah.
and
So,
also
so now you got
be
all my fun stories that I had to deal with.
be aware of your your own limitations physically so you don't get yourself like when you get older. Let me
Yeah,
tell you,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in a pickle. I'm in a big pickle. Had no
You'll you'll
idea.
be you'll be getting through it though. I think just fine. It's just a matter of your physical self hanging on to the wait time that you have. You know. So, but hey, you know what? I could show you this fancy computer I got. I didn't show you this yet, did I? This one that I just bought.
Nope.
All right, see that?
Yeah.
It
Woo,
got
woo.
got
It
got
looks like a disco inside there.
You're talking about disco, yeah?
My
Oh,
my son has my older son has one of those and
now
his
this is
girlfriend.
a glass door on this thing that you don't even know it's
Yeah.
glass. At nighttime when the lights out, you don't even
Yeah.
know the glass is there. This video card. All right, I looked at the price for this video card, MSI video card, and I looked at the price on that thing. Oh my gosh! I mean,
So
it
what
was
are you
over $1,000.
so what are
Just
you doing with that? Are you a gamer?
no, but I do like the video process, and I like how good the video is. I don't have the problem with the memory issue.
Right.
Um, um, I'm not a gamer yet. That might be something I might get into. you know,
Well, you should be. You're like you got you're ready to navigate and go in battle, dude. You got to, then I don't know if
yeah.
you saw combat, so you got to be
I did
careful
not.
with
I did not see combat. The worst thing I saw was that typhoon that we had to ride through, and then we had some other storm that we had at another time. but that was the only time when I had any kind of thing. Now I know after I got off my ship, they had a major wreck and a few sailors lost their lives because the people in charge of the ship didn't know how to steer the thing or whatever. I don't know what happened, but
Huh.
but you can look at some of those pictures. It's on record if you look up my ship, uh, USS Denver LPD-9, and you can look that up and see some of the things on there. I can show you. I don't know if I showed you that picture from when I was on the bridge when I was 19 years old. I
Huh.
think I did. I think I did show you that picture, but I'll show you again if you need to see it. And but I was a lot thinner then. Um, I was only like 180 pounds or something like that.
Uh,
So
my
uh,
great grandfather was in the Navy. My dad was in the Navy. My great grandfather had originally, um, he lied about his age to join the service, and he uh, he actually served on the USS Arizona.
oh yeah,
But you
I
know,
know where that is.
oh yeah, well, yeah, it's still
Uh,
there.
yeah,
Um,
and it's
it's
still
kind of like
considered to be active because the
what?
stack is above the water still.
It's still active,
Yeah, the stack is above the water still, so they still consider it to be an active memorial, so to speak.
huh?
Of course, there's no life on there as we know it,
Well,
but
no,
that's what I was asking somebody. I can't remember if it was you or if it was
no.
Maureen that I was asking to do a remote view that that historic.
Yeah, there's sailors on it.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
ghost sailors. There's ghost sailors there.
yeah. And
Um,
they're still doing their job and they're still working
yeah,
and whatever they're doing. Because
and they interact.
I thought when I went there the several times that I've been there, 'cause every time you leave the mainland, you have to go through Pearl Harbor, and then when you come back, you have to come back through Pearl Harbor. So I've been there 4 times, I guess. So,
Wow.
but you kind of get that sense of an energy that something is there, not just on that memorial site, but in that whole bay. You can sense that sense of loss and sense of energy that was taken, but there's still energy there that they're trapped there. Okay.
Yeah, there is. When I actually have photographs that my great grandfather took, and this is before uh, the Arizona was commissioned,
Yeah.
and so it was in dry dock
Yeah.
still before it hadn't even been commissioned.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. Um, anyways,
But yeah, that I don't know if I'd want to live through anything like that, and
well,
I don't know what we're gonna be coming into in the next phase within the next 10 years. I think we could be seeing some issues here in
yeah,
this
but he
country.
served like in 1916, 1917. So it was quite early in the Arizona's,
Yeah.
you know,
Now,
use.
I told you what I believe in my case, and my see, I have a strange belief on our energy existence.
Right?
Okay, I call it eternal existence. All right, and I kind of explained it before.
Yeah, I
Uh,
understand it.
and if you go and look at the creation of the universe, and it doesn't matter who you think God is, or if you believe the Bible, or if you believe the creation story, or if you believe any of it, or if you don't believe it, it does not matter. Something happened, and here we are. Okay, now our soul energy is not just this human body.
No.
I mean, it's outside of this human body. And that's why we can see our auras when we're talking to people. Okay? We can see, and sometimes even when we see people in chat, we can still see their auras and on or around them, no matter what. And they can try to block it. It ain't gonna be blocked if you got that ability. You're gonna see their auras. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you'd be respectable though. You don't want to be invading anyone's personal space. But sometimes I can't help it. I see somebody do it, and I just see it automatically. I don't tell them about it. I just see it, and I say, okay. Well,
What does mine look like right now?
I was thinking about that right when we were talking about that. And I see the light just went out, timer.
Okay.
Um,
Like you're in the dark.
um, yeah, that happens. But look, I still got light with the camera light and the screen light.
It's
Um,
great.
I think I see orange as your primary.
Huh.
Now, orange, I got confused with your thinking, but the orange is in your,
It's a sacral.
yeah, and it is dealing with creativity and things, right? So, so that's what you're doing with the book,
Yeah.
okay? Now, I seen orange before you talked about doing the book. When we first started talking, I saw orange before, if you remember right. I do see orange as your primary. I see green secondary and blue as the third. And not always normal to see three colors,
Huh.
but I see them in what I see them in layers like a rainbow configuration. That
Uh-huh.
isn't saying anything weird about you. That's just how I see the color
Right.
coming from around your body. So your orange would be next to you. That's the most primary important energy source that you need to focus on with your book, with your writing, with your creativity, whatever you're doing, podcast, whatever you're working on, doesn't make any difference. Whatever it is, that's your most important thing you need to work on and fine tune and balance. So whatever that orange is in the chakra lineup, whatever that is near, you got to work on that and of course work on all the chakras, but that is important. And then the green is the heart center. If you're looking at the chakra colors, okay, the green is the chakra, heart chakra. Then the blue is your throat voice. You're going to be telling a story and talking about some things. Might not be pleasant sometimes, but you have a voice. You have a right to share your voice, and don't be shy. And it's time to get that message out. Um, you're gonna have some people that hate it. You're gonna have
Yeah.
some people that are gonna be problems. You might
Yeah.
have some trouble from it because of
Yeah.
their distrust and dislike of what you need to share. But what
It's
you
just
need
been
to
the
do,
story of my
what you
life.
need to realize, which I think you know, is you have guardian angels, which you know. You have people that will protect you, meaning angels that will protect you. Okay? And nothing is going to happen to you personally on a physical level. Now, if something does, don't hate me. Okay?
Well, this dive into my past lives or my soul's existences. Um, those timeline connections or points
Hmm.
are connected to this lifetime and what I'm doing here now.
Yeah.
So, um, it's very connected to the creative and the communication aspects.
So just don't be afraid of what you're exploring. Uh,
Yeah,
you can't go around it. You can't try to avoid it. You have to go
through
into
it.
it and face
Yeah,
it.
yeah, these other two existences, um first one I was killed, the second one, um I was mistreated, I'd say. And actually, you know, people did try to kill me in those lifetime in that lifetime. And I was killed quite a bit in multiple lifetimes, but
But see now that's where you gotta
not
that's where you gotta be smarter than what you're
not not this lifetime though. Not this lifetime. I'm not
right.
gonna. I mean,
So you can learn from that past or from those other
right?
experiences, and I think we all have learned something in our existence.
That's
Um,
it. Would be an interesting thing to explore.
yeah.
Uh, deaths in past lives.
See
What
now,
not to
huh?
do? uh, how, when, why, who? Yeah, these past lives of mine are epic.
Yeah. So so you need to what you're doing. You need to explore that and face it and then
Well,
share it.
yeah, when you're on the spiritual path, Ron, sometimes you lose friends.
Right.
Sometimes you lose
But
as
then
you
you gain
evolve.
but then you gain other friends.
True,
You gain a different path of friends that you didn't even know you had. You know,
true, true,
um, we know some of the same people in our life's path now. We
true.
watch different videos. Watch different live streams or different platforms, and they're all great people that I can see that we watch. You know,
Yeah, true.
and I think we're on the right path and on the right trail that we need to be on right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
collective.
And so we need to keep going forward on this path. And I might not even understand everything I'm talking about at the moment, but I'm ready to explore that. Okay. And so that's
Yeah,
why one of the reasons I want to look into my dreams and what they mean. Okay.
exactly. Well, when you need to, when you do that, Ron, I don't. You, sometimes you are experiencing past lifetimes and future,
Yeah. And it's
and
all
you
together.
already know that you've done it.
I mean, like the planet I talk about, the crystal planet, the amethyst crystal planet that I've been on, that I've touched the crystal, physically touched it, and I could
Yeah,
feel the energy coming from it.
there's um there's representations of that in artwork. There's representations of that. Uh, other people
I
talk
was taken with at least one guide,
about it.
maybe been other, probably three guides, I'm guessing, but
Yeah,
one that I was being led by directly, and that was the one that was talking to me or speaking to me in that time. Now, when I was on this planet, as I told you in my story before, it had two suns, and the suns were on opposite sides of the planet, which would mean that the light was shining through. Imagine how pretty that would look through
so
the amethyst. It wasn't blinding brightness. It was just really pretty, like prism, and you know,
I gotta ask you, so was that light And that light source, when you experienced that, was it more of the yellow white light that we get from our sun, or was it more of a pure white light?
It was like a yellow, like a
It was
yellow tone. Yeah, it wasn't blinding white. No, it was like a yellow, and then
interesting.
but it was more pure than what we're used to here. If that makes any sense. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Uh,
so the energy of it was more pure, I think. And I don't mean anything to take that away from our son,
well, yeah, it's I just had to ask because
but it wasn't
I was
white.
I was working with someone and we were in Lumeria, and I believe it was Lumeria. I don't know exactly. Well, it was Earth, and it was during Lumerian times,
Okay.
and there was a different light source. The source of light here
Huh.
um, was more pure white
Huh.
than that
I'll have to
yellowish
keep an eye out
white.
for that and keep a
But
watch for that.
um, it was almost, and there were other, you could see with your visual eyes
Yeah.
looking up into the sky, there were other things there to see. They weren't.
Now, I didn't look too much at the sky. I did notice the yellow color of the suns and how the light looked as it shone through the planet.
Hmm.
Now, the other thing that I noticed was, as I mentioned before, I had seen two people that I recognized. Now, I didn't remember who their even today. Sometimes I don't remember people's names. I know who they are, and I'll say hello to them. I'll smile at them, and hey, how you doing? But I don't remember the name, and I'm not gonna ask them what their name is. Not just plain rude. So you don't want to be embarrassed by asking what their name is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you just say, hey, how you doing? And you know them, and you know who they are. That's what you need to know, and
yeah.
eventually the name will come to you eventually. But in this case, on that planet, though, I saw two people. I the guide said I could say hi to them, and so I said hi to them, and they said hi to me. They knew me. I knew them from somewhere. I don't know where, and I don't know who they were necessarily. I don't know how they were connected to me, but anyway, I knew them. So I think that's like how it's going to be in the future life is that we're going to know the people that we're with, that we're around. You know what I mean? I'm going to know you as you still.
Well, yeah, I doing this work with my book and my healing process. It's I was how I made connections of the people in this lifetime in the past lifetimes where there were specific characteristics
Yeah.
or let's say, well, my grandfather on my mom's side was Benjamin Franklin in my 1787 lifetime, and I couldn't figure out who he was. I thought he was my great grandfather on my dad's side,
Oh, yeah.
and so they're like, no, no. And I had to sit there and think for a minute, who was the inventor in my family? Who was the inventor? And it was my grandfather on my mom's side who had he had patents and things in
Hmm.
Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. And then on my planet, though, as I was standing there, and then I saw the crystals, sticking out of the ground, and I wanted to touch them right away because I could feel the energy from them. And so, what was interesting was I ended up asking the guide if I could touch one, and of course he said yes. Go ahead and uh, touch one to see what it feels like. and of course I could feel the energy on my hand and through my body as I'm touching it. But that's when I woke up out of my dream.
Mm.
So now I don't know who that guide was.
Was
Um,
did one of I'm looking at the scene of you there, and I'm wondering, do, do you recognize one of your guides or one of the main guides being very tall and thin, almost like a, I don't know, like a snow Bigfoot kind of thing?
well, what I seem to remember is he was taller than I am. Uh, and he had I don't
Did
think he
he?
had blonde hair. He had brown hair. I
Oh
remember. All right, which is kind of odd because most angels have blonde hair, right?
no,
Uh, not all of them. Okay, well this one had brown hair, I think, and but he had on a kind of like the white suit type of thing or white.
yeah, because I just see him as white light.
Yeah,
I just see him as white light, but he kind
yeah,
of puts off that
yeah. So
feeling.
now maybe with me being right next to him, it might have looked like a white robe or something like that. You
Uh,
know, you know what I mean. So, but you looking at it through your vision, you're gonna see a white light, which that's
yeah,
possible. Either
yeah,
one is right. Either one is correct. But he had a friendly face, nothing threatening, very kind, very polite, and he was. I don't know that he was talking to me verbally. I think it was more telepathy. Okay,
huh.
in that sense.
Right,
Um,
right, right. Yeah, absolutely. That's
so,
like
and just like when I saw those two people I knew, we were both we were all communicating telepathy. We
right,
weren't talking verbally. I know
right,
that. Now, as
right.
I was asking my question to my guide, I might have thought I was speaking, but I was not. It was mental. It was telepathy. I'm 90% sure it was
So
telepathy.
that happens in your waking life too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you
And
know,
and let me tell you about I can tell you about a telepathy episode I actually experienced. Jimmy Fallon is getting his beard shaved off. Now look at that. I got my beard shaved off today, and he's getting his beard shaved off.
who?
Jimmy Fallon, Night Show.
Oh,
Oh, he's just getting shaved. He's not getting shaved off, I don't think. Okay. No, he is going to get it all shaved off. Okay, he's just in the middle of it. That's funny. Sorry. I got distracted by what was. But, yeah, so, um, what I want to know is can you, or how can I know what would be an experience that I can try, or experiment or exercise, if you will? I want to know who my primary guardian angel is, and how do I know that for sure? And how do
so
I know
here's
when
a
they're talking to me?
here's a really powerful thing you can do. I don't do this, but one of my friends does this. It's called dream incubation.
Okay.
So when before you go to sleep, you can ask to have a conversation with your spirit guides.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then hopefully what that produces is a dream of interaction with them.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have this every time when I open personal akashic records for people. I know this is different for different practitioners, but this has been my experience. I kind of go into this lobby of the post office sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a bank of PO boxes in this place,
Yeah.
and then over to my left, that's where people's their spirit guides and loved ones will hang out. It's just, to me, all I see is a white fog, and I know they're there. Sometimes they come forward. The last time I opened somebody's records, there was a couple characters that came forward and they were playing charades, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired of you guys. You just like, come on, come forward. It was just kind of this bizarre back and
Right.
forth of what was
Right.
going on.
11:11 here. Look at that. 11:11 right on the dot.
All right.
How how do I keep seeing that all the time,
Well, I'm 911
huh?
here,
Yeah.
so
I've been more aware of the 11:11, and I've been watching. There's a couple of them that I've missed, but I've gotten 444 today, and I got what did I say, 333, and I saw 555, I believe. So, and then I just happened to look at the clock, and it said 11:11. That's kind of weird. And it's
yeah.
not that I'm timing it like that, but somehow it's jumping out at me every day. What's bad is when you're trying to go to sleep and it's 2 o'clock and you're waiting for 2:22 and you should be asleep already.
Okay. You shouldn't even have a clock in your room. Oh my god.
uh, well, I got one on the wall, and then the bright moon out there is freaking me out. It looks too damn bright out there.
And
Uh,
it's glaring off the snow.
yeah.
Is it
Well, we got the fog and the
uh
clouds but it's kind of just breaking through the little bit of clouds. And although I did get to see that full moon that we just had, and I got to see Mars right next to the full moon, and then I watched it on video later from LA, where they had it from the Griffith Observatory, where the Mars got occulted by the moon, which doesn't happen every day. You don't get to see that, so that was pretty impressive to actually get to see that on video and watch it disappear behind the moon and come back out the other side a little bit later. And yeah, that doesn't happen every day that you get to watch that. So
does
that's
that happen every 166
it's,
years
it's
or
it's some kind of weird thing. We're not going to be around for the next one, not here anyway.
well, we'll meet up in that lifetime. We'll be
Yeah,
talking
we'll
about.
look back. Well, see that. What was weird on that, if you look back on that event, is the sun and the Earth and the moon and everything was all in line, but not for the eclipse of the moon, uh, because it wasn't in line with the Earth's shadow in that sense. But the planets were and the sun and everything was kind of like in line, uh, which was why the moon covered Mars, or occulted Mars. And I can't remember exact term of it, but I was looking at a diagram of what they're talking about. Pretty interesting stuff.
Mm.
When you think about how it lines up. And I'm glad that part's over with. Hopefully, we'll start going into better energy coming into the new year. So I'm looking at heck, it's December 9th going into December 10th coming up here. We're halfway through December. Let's get through this month, and then we can only look forward. Let's not look back at the last 4 years what we dealt with. Let's not keep complaining about what we had to deal with. Let's look forward. I mean, when you look backwards and complain about what you go through, that's more or less you're killing yourself. You're taking away your own energy. You're not progressing in a forward motion, which is what we're supposed to be doing. Okay? Even if we came backwards to get here, in a sense, if you know what I mean. We did come forward to get here at some point, but we went backwards to get there and then to here. And that's all confusing when you think about it, but don't try to figure it out. When you start having strange vision and you start having strange memories of things that you shouldn't be remembering, that's
Well,
what's weird. And like I told you about the time when Tanya did her uh, regression hypnosis with Joey on air, and I was listening to the live show when she did that, and I almost went into a regression at the same time. And I told you I was on that ship that I thought Joey was. I don't remember if he was protesting to get on it or protesting to stay off of it. I can't remember. But what's interesting about that is that ship and Joey's history and his understanding of that ship as a pirate and as what he was, that ship went to Africa. The
Mhm.
interesting thing is, I went to Africa on my ship, in this lifetime. I went to Madagascar and I went to another part of the mainland on Africa.
Hmm.
And that was interesting. A little scary because it is strange talk about spirituality stuff. There's a lot of different type of more negative than positive. And but again, not being afraid to die didn't really make any difference. But it was just interesting and eye opening at the same time. And I had this one wooden bowl with hand carved legs with it. It was supposed to be like for a salad bowl or something like that, but the energy from it was negative, and somehow it's not in my life anymore. It was gone. It was just missing from my life all of a sudden, which I don't know if I was supposed to have that in my life, if you know what I mean. Certain artifacts, or certain things. It was handmade, but it was might have the energy might not have been meant for me at the moment when I had that bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I somehow it disappeared out of my life, and that's fine. I didn't need to collect it. Maybe it was nice work, but yeah, there's some energy with it that wasn't right. And when you're talking about voodoo, you're talking about different uh, spiritual energies that we don't understand at that moment. Witchcraft, more so dangerous witchcraft than we know. You know, you got to be careful with that stuff. But now what we're talking about with the tarot cards and stuff like that, we're having fun with using some things. What I find interesting is in the Bible, it talks about all kinds of stuff that are dealing with divination, borderline witchcraft, uh, interpreting dreams and understanding dreams and messages and hearing voices and talking to the spirits and talking to angels and all kinds of crazy stuff that the Bible has it all the way through the book. Okay? And the church is telling us it's evil because they don't want us to ask questions. They don't want us to explore this stuff. But the problem is we're spiritual. So that means we're connected with spirit, we're connected with the spiritual realm, even though we're human. So we have to explore some of this stuff to understand the process. Okay? So, in my opinion, it's a learning experience, it's a growth process. And if you do it from a intention to learn and the intention to grow and the positivity intention to experience that growth, then I don't see why it should be wrong. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? So, so I don't see a problem with that. Dowsing rods, you know, people call that witchcraft. Well, guess what? They've been using
Moses
dowsing
has
rods.
it.
They've been using dowsing rods to find water. Farmers use it to find where to
Oh,
plant the
yeah.
seeds. They find out where the moisture is in the soil to plant the seeds, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's energy. It's using the earth's energy, using nature to tell you where to find things. Gold, where to find oil. I I have found gold with my dowsing rod, just trying an experiment with them
Uh-huh.
and at the house. I've
Uh-huh.
found the energy from spirits here with my dowsing rods. Okay, so it does work that way too. And it's just reading energy locally. Okay. Um, I don't see anything evil in that sense. Okay. So I don't know how that can be evil. I mean, you look in the some of the older movies, and they have a wishbone type stick that they use. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And it would point straight down where the well was to drill for water or to dig for
Right.
water. You know, and so how is that evil? That's just using the energy that you're connected with. You know,
Right.
and
Right.
and I think that's what we need to do. We need to understand the energy that we're dealing with, the spirituality of it, and connect with it, and understand also, even in the New Testament, the Bible talks about test the spirits. Hello, why are we supposed to test the spirits if we're not supposed to be talking to them? What? How are we supposed to? We have to talk to them then if we're going to test them, right?
Well, and they're everywhere, as you know.
Yeah.
You got arts and crafts in your home going on.
I like how you say that.
So, I've been watching Celebrity Ghost Stories.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that show?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah.
And interesting stories. Ghost stories. I love it. And some of them are good, some of them are bad,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And some of them were using incantations, some of them were using Ouija boards,
See, now I
some of
wouldn't
them
use
weren't doing anything.
I wouldn't use one of those because I can't control it. I don't know what I'm gonna open up if I try to use one of those boards. I'll use a pendulum because I control the pendulum, I believe. Okay, and I mean I don't know that I control it, but it gives me the answers I need when I ask a yes or no answer.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but it doesn't tell me anything outside of the realm of yes or no. I could show you on another time. I won't do it now, obviously tonight we can't do it, but I'll show you a video of how I can pick a red and black card using playing cards. Okay, I can tell
Mhm.
you which one is red and which one is black. I can tell you what number it is with the pendulum, whether I know what it is or not. And the
Mhm.
pendulum will tell me which card is which, what number, and right down to the color, everything, right down to the suit. I've done it, I've worked with it, and it works. I have a pendulum that I use that has a leather strap for the cord and or leather cord for the chain thing, and it has it's an agate and it's wrapped in a wire wrap. It's agate, and it just sits freely and it hangs freely. When I stop it, I can stop it from moving. And when I ask it what day of the week it is, it can tell me if it's yes or no, what day of the week it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and when I get to the right day, it'll answer yes. Other days, it'll if it's not that day, it'll be in a circle to say no. Yes is up and back, back and forth. No is in a circle. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, so when you ask a card for the card, red or black card, you ask, is that a red card? And it would go yes if it is, or no in a circle if it's not. Okay. And this has happened several times. I've tested this. All right. Now, several times I've been 100% correct on the card
Wow.
without knowing what the card was.
Wow.
So, um, there's that gift there with the pendulum. And I don't know if I have the gift or if it's just the spirits or the energies that are helping me answer that question, whatever that might be.
Well, I'm no good with the pendulum. Don't ask me. Don't ask me to use it. Um,
But it's
but
all energy.
well, yeah, I know that. I get it. I get it. I'm probably like vibrating like this and like, you know, I'm like I've got 16 different thoughts going through my brain at one time.
Well, I got the same problem. Remember, I told you I have ADHD. I got my brain going in all different directions. I go to sleep at night. I'm thinking about everything I should be doing with the radio station and whatever kind of new idea I want to come up with to create, for
Uh-huh.
a show or some idea. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of the night. I'll think of something funny, like what Seinfeld does. He'll think of something funny, but then I'll forget it the next day. And I was like, oh, damn it, I had a good joke.
Right? That's
But
when you should be having this paper and pen.
yeah, I'm too lazy to do that, and I can't read my own writing when I do that. Um, I could type it on the keyboard though.
Or
So,
if you have a voice activated phone, you can go.
oh, I have that note thing on my phone. Yeah, I do have that.
You
So,
can just lay there, open notes,
yeah, yeah, it
phone
has
open
that
notes.
option. Yeah, but I'm interested in requesting that guide communication. So, what do I do? What do I do exactly when I go to sleep tonight? Do I?
Um,
What would be the best way to ask for that?
well, it'd be like praying. It'd be like praying. You know how to pray. You pray, but with this, you're telling your spirit guide to come into my dream. Tell them to come into my dream.
Yeah.
Come into my dream tonight.
And when I had that trip to that planet, that was when I was working on the traveling on the astroplaning type of thing. Okay.
You
So
do some weird work.
see, I was working on that, and the reason why I was working on that, all right, I'm trying. I can actually go around my house. Okay. Um, kind of weird. Sleepwalking without sleepwalking, if you will. My body is in my chair. I don't move from here, but I'm walking around my house. Now, Tanya has taught me how to do this. Tanya Medea has taught me how to do some of this, and she got me to the point where I can actually do this part of this experiment. And that's when I had this trip to the planet, though, which was kind of weird. I just wanted to be around the house. I didn't care about going to the planet. So it went a little bit farther than I expected.
So exactly what was she teaching you? Remote viewing or astral traveling?
Um, well, my goal was to be able to communicate with my guests here,
Uh,
okay, on their level,
uh
okay. So in a way, it'll be remote viewing or astro, whatever you want to call it, astro travel or astro,
well,
on this level. I'm not going anywhere necessarily outside of my house. Staying in my house, traveling around my house,
awake.
connecting on the spirit level with the spirits here
Well, you're awake.
or asleep. It don't matter. But my
Uh,
my my goal is when I'm asleep. I think is the easiest way to do it. And then you're kind of in a dream state, but you're still in a communication state as well.
uh-huh.
Okay. So now the thing is, I have to remember to maintain the silver cord. You don't want that to break because then you're in trouble if that breaks. So, so make sure the silver cord stays intact. And so I know about that. I do know about the white protection bubble. You can ask for the white angel to protect you. Okay, and you have a whole sphere, a white light around you protecting you.
So Tanya taught you how to do this. You could probably do the same exact thing meeting your spirit guides.
Okay, and I will work on that then tonight, and in the next few nights I'll try to see if I can, or days or whatever, we'll work on it. And if I have to go into a meditation state and try to do it when I'm during the daytime, we'll do it then. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll work on it. But that's interesting. I like that. But I got to where I could see my house guests, and I was in their same form. Okay, they could see me.
Right.
Now, when you remote view, they can see you and they know you're here.
Ye- Well, yeah, and you know what's
And
interesting? Um, I've heard, well, I even heard Joey Medea talk about this on his show.
yeah,
That, and they've done like more research about remote viewing than I have.
yeah,
Um, is that a lot of times people are remote viewed and they don't realize they're being remote viewed. Well, I'm an empath, so I can feel the energy around me. I
yeah,
sense, you know, if I wake up and I'm thinking of somebody and I'm going, why am I thinking of that person? Then there's a reason. Their energy is in my energy.
the other night, last
And
night,
was it last night?
no, last night I had an episode here where I thought I felt someone here, but I couldn't tell you who it was. But I felt an energy here, not negative. It was just like someone was here, and I looked like to my right, thinking I felt the energy there. And it was like that's
Uh-huh.
kind of weird. Nothing scary. Just like okay, all
Yeah,
right, they're
I've
talking to me.
I've actually caught people remote viewing me. I I'll see them. I'll see glimpses of them.
Yeah.
I know who it is.
Now what's
And
interesting is here
you'd be
in
surprised.
my area there is uh I'm not supposed to know this, but from what I heard, there's some kind of a witch coven here in this area. Okay, and
There's
some
more than one.
yeah, and some of them they practice Wiccan, but some of them practice witchcraft, which
There's a lot of them. You they're
so
everywhere
and
in every
the
culture
the
in every
women the
land.
women are not going to tell you who they are or what they're doing, but
Oh no, they're gonna be your friends.
right. But the interesting thing is that might be some of who I'm sensing in this
Could
area,
be.
you know,
Could
and
be.
it could be them or it could be a deceased person that's floating around, but it's one of those two
And
things, huh?
it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody close by
Right?
because
Yeah,
I've caught people from Europe.
yeah,
I'm like, what?
yeah,
Why?
yeah. But as long as you got your wits about you, you got your protection. You know what's going on. They're not gonna harm you. Okay.
It's like,
They could be doing a study, a project. They're trying to learn and fine tune their gifts. You know,
oh no, no, no,
no,
no. Nah,
No.
not not these ones. Nope,
Okay.
nope, nope. I I'm just like, what?
Well, why are they looking in at us then? That's my question.
Well, yeah. Well, these are military.
Oh, okay. Okay.
These are military. I'm like, why are you watching me? It
Well,
was
you can.
bizarre.
Yeah, if they want to watch you, then they have to be in the exchange program, and they have to give you some information.
It's just like, I see
You can
you.
see them. Yeah.
I see you. You know I'm not supposed to see you, but I see you.
Now you know what else it could be. All right. Now there has been a few times, recently, just recently, even with the cloud cover, and even in the clear blue sky, a couple of days, I have been able to sense. I told you I can sense the energy of the UFOs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this one time, I was driving back home, and I had Bobby on the video. We were
Uh-huh.
talking, and he was riding with me on the video, and he was talking to keep me awake and watch the chat and everything like that. And I told him, Bobby, I sent six UFO craft around me, above me, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And clear blue sky, and I couldn't see anything in the sky, but I sensed the energy of these craft.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's exactly what Jesse Peak is talking about from MUFON in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
He's a field investigator in Pennsylvania from MUFON, and he's
Mm-hmm.
studying the electromagnetic interference of the UFO craft. Okay, so that's one that project Bat Tech 404 or whatever it's called, and Esther was working on that one with him, and so um, I think that we connect with that as well because we're all energy, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so if we feel that, don't be afraid of it. Just know it's there, and then they're not going to surprise you. All right. Now I haven't seen one in physical form like the flying
Well,
saucer or disc shape. Except for that silver ball that I saw that one time on the video that I shot, but I
are
didn't
you
get
an
to see it.
are you an actual experiencer like
That I don't
Esther?
know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
These people are very
But in my situation, no, I haven't seen them. And would I have the answer for that? The answer I have for that, why I haven't seen them, is that I already know they're here. I don't have to see them. I know they're here.
uh, have you
So
heard Esther's story?
yeah, yeah. She talked about a couple of different things that she had occur.
Yeah.
So um, I miss her. I wish she'd come back.
Mm-hmm.
She's busy doing her own thing though right now. So she needs some time off and need a break and doing her own thing. And I'll just wait. I'll be here when she gets ready to come back. So door is always open.
Yeah.
So as long as I got a time slot for her, I can plug her in somewhere. You know, put her in the show lineup somewhere. But I'm really glad we have Maureen on Thursday night. She's a interesting show host, and she has our friend Anthony Simonelli. I always called him Simonelli. Like remember that stuff, the car polisher stuff, Simonize. You Simonize your dashboard and everything like that. And so
Uh-huh.
I'd always call him Simonelli, not Simonelli, but he made it
Uh,
clear Simonelli. So you don't want to say them. person's name wrong.
Definitely.
But he's been helping her with the co-hosting job, and that's pretty darn cool because he's a pretty big name. And uh, so she's got a lot of guests lined up for her show coming up real soon. So keep an eye on that if you've been watching that. And
No, I've been kind of busy.
okay,
Still adjusting to where I'm at now.
okay,
Trying to, trying to.
we'll get everything settled down, then tune in and start watching.
Yeah. I feel
And
like I'm gonna start be. I start be. I'm gonna start really reading up on and studying things. So
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna I got a new tarot deck that I ordered that's coming. It's a Star Trek theme.
uh-huh.
I thought that was pretty interesting. That I saw that and for some reason it jumped out at me and said, "Oh, I got to get that one." So I bought it, and I'm waiting on that to get here. And then I was looking at these dream things. They got one for dream symbols,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And so that helps you read, and the cards help you read and understand what you see in your dreams. So if one, like if you have you got your deck of cards, you got them up, face up, and you're looking at the pictures, and something will jump out at you, even if you don't remember it. Something will jump out at you and say, "Oh, I remember that symbol for some reason." I remember when Starseed, under Andromeda Starseed, if you remember who she is, Star, our friend Star, and you've seen her here. She's in California as well, and uh, she is a good friend and good person to know about all this star travel and different things and what we talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
she had what was I gonna say now? Boy. I was just talking about what she's gonna. Oh, now I got a brain slip for gear off the track.
Well, Ron, you make me tired because you're tired yourself. So
Yeah.
I'm over here like I get really good at sleep right now.
Oh. Oh boy. All right. Well, yeah, we just keep talking and rambling on about crazy stuff, and I thank you for coming on and helping out and doing some readings for
Oh,
people,
you're
and
welcome.
everyone enjoys it when you do. And Bobby was asking when you're going to come back and work on some. I don't know if you meant on here and do some shows with us, or when you're going to do your own show. I don't know what he meant by
I
that,
don't know what he was asking.
but you're more than welcome. We can find a spot to put you on, and when you get ready to come back full time and you need an extra place to show your stuff, you got a place here. You're part of our family now. You know that,
Yeah.
and so you're welcome here, and you're welcome to share your thoughts and have fun with what you want to talk about, and have a show if you have a show once a week. If you do one once a week, and you have one, or you can have guests, your own guests that you want to have on, and whatever. Think about that. Consider that for the new year, and it's an option. It's no pay in it, just free airtime
I appreciate it.
and opportunity to meet a whole lot of different people, which you already know, but
Oh,
maybe some you can get to talk to face, and things like that. So, yeah,
yeah.
consider that. Of course, it's always available and open, and if you decide that you want to do that at some future date. And I'm talking to some other people to try to let them know that it's okay if they want to. Don't be afraid. It's time to start talking about this stuff and get the message out there. So we have the opportunity to be talking about it, so let's get going and talk about stuff, you know?
Right.
All right. So, but anyway, I think that's about it for us right now then. And I think
Think,
my new computer is working good,
yeah.
sounding okay. It's sounding good, I think, on your end. You hear what I'm saying? Uh, Finally got the microphone figured out. I was using a camera microphone at first, and that didn't work out too well.
Well,
So,
thanks for having me, Ron. I do appreciate you inviting me to come on.
yeah, you're welcome. And you're always welcome, of course. So if you see us on, just say hey. If I'm the one running the show, I can get you on. But if uh, Marina's running the show or something, you might want to ask her personally if you want to come on and be a guest or whatever. Check with her. And so, yeah, you got a few places where you can hang out. You know, all right.
Cool. All right.
And don't be shy. Speak up.
All right.
And we're not. I don't judge anybody here. I always tell people don't agree with me if you don't want to. You know,
Right.
if you do agree with him, then great. But I'm not picking you.
Right.
I think the variable thought process is the best thing that we can have. That we can have different angles, different ideas, and just saying we all did agree with each other. It'd be a more crazy world than we have now. You know.
Could
So,
be. Yeah.
all right. Well, yeah. So you have a good night, and we'll
You
talk to
too.
you on the next one. All right.
Okay. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. So, thank you everyone for dropping by. Everyone's already gone now. We're the only ones left. One person's left here. Don't know who. Maybe Venus is. I don't know. I think she already went to sleep though. But anyway, whoever was here, thank you for being here, and we'll see everybody on the next one. Have a great night. And hey, if you have nice weather, get out there and enjoy it. Of course, probably dark for everybody. All right, we'll see you all next time. Hey, Bobby, you're still here? Ah, thank you, Bobby. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed your reading, and hopefully she sent you that picture. You can see it from her cards. All right, we'll see everybody next time. Thank you, Bobby. We'll talk to you next time.